Hey everyone, Nettie Owens here with Sapari Solutions. I'm continuing our interview series on what businesses need to know right now, and I couldn't have brought a better person on to have this discussion. Camille Nisich is joining us today. She's a cash flow strategist. So her consulting business helps female entrepreneurs create cash flow strategy, gain access to funding, and design profitable businesses with the Resilience Reset Action Plan. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here, Camille.
Thanks so much, Nettie. It's great to be here.
So let's just dig right in, because cash flow is a massive issue right now. Even businesses that felt like they had it together, having to go 4 months or more, especially as cases and coronavirus are ticking up at this point. That's going to put a pinch on even the best strategied business there is out there, right? Yeah. And we're starting to see it. Like, I opened my newspaper this morning to an article that said 2 staple restaurants in Pittsburgh are closing their doors for good. So these are businesses that thought they could weather it and now just aren't able to. So a lot of folks are using the PPP as a way to bridge that gap. So maybe if you could fill us in here first off, like, what do we need to know about the PPP, about loan forgiveness, about how it works?
Yeah. So first of all, PPP went there, so about a week ago, there was what was the deadline, right? And so at the kind of 11th hour, there was an extension. And so it was originally June 30th was the application, well, actually the approval deadline. So you had to be approved by June 30th. Now that has been extended to August 8th. So there's still more time to get PPP loans. And then with respect to, a lot of what you see in the media right now is, hey, the big lenders, the big banks, like I'll protect the innocent and I won't name any, but some big banks that you all could think of are not lending PPP anymore. However, there are still community lenders and small kind of fintechs that are offering loans. So even if you either don't have a relationship with them, or maybe even you haven't heard from them, you can go one of 2 routes. You can either go to your larger lender and ask for a referral, or you get creative, get online and see what kind of lenders are still out there offering PPP. So that's hugely important. And then there was a flexibility act, a PPP flexibility act that was passed June 5th, and it made the requirements looser in terms of how long the term of the loan is, how long the deferral period is, et cetera. So it's actually a lot more accessible, even what you can do with the money changed. So it used to be that you had to use 75% of it for payroll, and that's been relaxed to 60%. So there's still huge opportunity there. It's just really important for people to know and understand that, and to apply, really.
So even though there are some big banks that aren't offering these anymore, there are still options out there. You need to look locally. You need to maybe ask some questions. I know there's a group in Facebook on PPP. Are you part of that?
I'm actually not
in there. Okay.
But yeah, there are so many, and especially I know that we happen to live in the same region, and I actually partner with a lender that serves Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey. So they are definitely still issuing loans. So if anyone in your audience wants to reach out and they happen to fall in those states, happy to connect them.
That's really good to know. I do know there's a large swath of folks watching that are from this area. Yeah. So really, really great news on that front. So the biggest thing is it's not too late, and you can use it now for more than just payroll. Like a significant, 40% can be used for something other than payroll.
Yeah, even I know that a lot of times there was hesitation around, well, I'm not certain I'll be able to qualify for forgiveness, therefore I'm not sure I want to even apply. And there is actually provision for partial forgiveness. So you might get forgiveness around the payroll piece, just as an example. And then maybe if you have to repay, you still have 5-year loan term from the point of the designation on whether you get forgiveness or not. So there is partial forgiveness and there's a 5-year loan term. So.
Wow, that's great, because that gives businesses some time to kind of get back on their feet and just incorporate this as a regular business expense instead of just I know a number of businesses who are saying, like, if I defer certain costs, they're still going to be there, but this gives folks enough time to catch up. That's really awesome. So speaking of that, talk to me a little bit more about cash flow. What do businesses need to know right now? Like, what's important about cash flow at this particular juncture?
Yeah. So the obvious thing is to be smart about your reserves, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone kind of feels like, well, do I have money? Have I been burning through it? And that's really something that's important, but it's important to not necessarily stop the flow. Like, the whole reason why things like stimulus packages exist is so that we don't stop the flow, right? Because when money's not flowing, it can't create more money. So you just have to be really, really smart about your reserves. And that means getting into really deep, meaningful, even creative conversations with your partners, with the people in your supply chain, with your employees, and figuring out a solution that works for everybody.
Right.
Everybody is in a challenging position, and people are willing to have conversations and to get creative and to share, resources, but definitely have those conversations and think smartly about the reserves, but don't stop spending. Again, it could get you into a risky situation in some cases, but just it also can impede your ability to ramp back up when the time is. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I've kind of seen that. I'm not sure if you said everybody's in a difficult position or not everybody's in a difficult position. I didn't quite hear you.
I said everyone. That's probably not true, because I actually know people that are companies that are thriving. But in some respects, there's an effect. There's an effect for everyone.
Well, everybody's definitely been affected by this, but there are definitely businesses, even watching right now, who are like, wow, I don't need PPP. Some of my clients might be challenged, but I'm not. And so if you are in the I'm having challenges position, it's worth reaching out to your vendors and providers, because they may be able to help you bridge that gap, which is beneficial for everyone, because if you stay in business, you remain a client, and that helps them stay in business as well. So you're right about the flow. If we just pull the plug on everything right now, then truly, yes, we're all going down with the ship. But if we were to pull together those who are doing well, those who are struggling, we are actually going to survive and weather this even better. I see this as an opportunity to get focused, to set up some systems maybe that didn't exist before, and to form better relationships. There's a chance for that if we choose to work together.
A lot of my clients, we've talked about that. It's like, what does your pivot look like? And then what do those relationships that are really critical to your business look like? Let's go foster those. Let's go deep in them. Yeah. Absolutely. And sometimes that's even with your customers.
Yeah.
Even if they are not buying from you, it's an opportunity to get into dialogue with them, to see what they need, to see what their challenges are, to see what has best served them in the past, and really, put that into your plan.
Absolutely. And that really kind of ties into this last question, which you may have even answered at this point, but
I think we might have lost Nettie.
I'm not sure where I disappeared to, but here we are again. So let me ask the last question, which is, how can business owners create personal resilience so it shows up in their business? And I think relationships probably a big way that we can do that. What else would you share?
Yeah, one of the things that I always talk about with my clients is just, what is your zone of genius time? And are you doing things in that zone of genius time for yourself? Because typically what happens is they say, oh, my zone of genius time, let's say it's the morning. Well, I'm going to immediately get to work on my business. I'm going to, send emails. I'm going to do all the things. But actually, that's the time where your innovative thinking comes in. So making sure you have some kind of personal habits that replenish you, that reboot you, that get you started or wrap you up for the day, so that you can actually apply that into your business. Everything from how do you get mental clarity to, how do you maintain your focus with all the different inputs that are coming at you. It might mean shutting some things off. It might mean putting your phone on do not disturb, but basically taking some active role in your own habit forming and your own kind of habit processes so that you can have that show up in your business.
Awesome. I could not agree more. You're speaking my language here. I think we definitely need more room for deep work. And you're right that we often use that time for just whatever we need to fill it in, but not really conscientiously using it for deep work. This has been such a pleasure to have you on. If you would like to catch up with Camille, her address is below. I'm sure she'd appreciate you reaching out, and I'm sure she's available to help with all of your cash flow questions.
Thank you so much.